How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Cavanaugh and I'm a professional soccer player in Perth, Australia. I'm from the US and so happy to have you guys here. Thanks so much for being here. The goal of this video is to describe the differences between general training and position-specific training, show you some examples out on the field of what it might look like per position, and then hopefully give you an idea of what percentages of each type of training you want to do as you move through the ranks and through your age. So when you're younger, you want to do more general stuff, and then when you're older, like where I'm at right now at 25 years old, you want to do much more position-specific stuff as well as working on fitness and all that stuff. But we'll get into that. Before we get into the video though, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do that. Smash the like button and comment down below what percentage of training generally and what percentage of training in your specific position you do. Give me a rough estimate. Would love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and let's hop into it. Okay, so first things first, really quick before we hop out on the field. So one, you're looking at your general training. So your general training has to do with foot speed, footwork, maybe it's your weightlifting stuff. So I'd say that's all general training. Those are things that help with speed, power, agility, your footwork, your touch on the ball, things that aren't specific to a particular position. So things that all soccer players at a really high level have to be good at. So things like long balls, things like passing accuracy, etc., etc. So those are things that are very general. When we talk about position-specific training, for somebody like me as an outside back / wing player, that's something like crossing, that's something like distribution out of the back, that's something like making 90-degree turns and playing up the line to one of my wingers, things that are very specific to that position. So I'm looking at movement patterns in training, I'm looking at my distribution, I'm looking at crossing both on the ground and in the air, so things that are really particular to my position. So that's when I'm training position-specific stuff, that's the types of things that I want to target in those sessions. A lot of times if you watch a professional player like myself or like somebody else who trains very specific position-based stuff, it would actually surprise you that the intensity of the drill is very short. So you go really intense for a short period of time, rest, really intense short period of time. And the reason that we do that kind of thing is so that you get lots of really quality repetitions so that you're not bogging yourself down with fatigue and all that other stuff. Obviously, there are training sessions in which you want to be fatigued, you want to be tired, and to practice playing under pressure and under fatigue, I guess. But especially in training sessions when I want to work on crossing, I want my form to be really good, my technique to be really good, so that once I get into team training sessions and then further on into the games, it makes my life way easier because my technique is perfect every single time and I'm able to get that whip ball or the driven ball or whatever I've already practiced in training. All right, guys, so let's hop into the field session and I'll explain a little bit more for each different position, what types of things you might want to be working on. All right, fam, so we are out here at the pitch. I'm actually using more of like a side pitch. The main pitch is over here, but it's right now being renovated. So I'm kind of stuck with this intermediary space, which is actually great because then I can show you the drills that you can do in basically any type of space. So the first one we're going to go over is just a couple general drills. So again, when you're younger, I'd say under the age of maybe 13 or 14, I'd say at least a 50-50 split, if not 60 to 75% general, and then the remainder of that position specific, because at that point you may not even know what position you're going to be playing long term. And as I've experienced in my career, and I know many other pros have as well, they go from one position to the other. So in high school I'm a center midfielder, in club I'm a center mid and an outside back, and then I go from outside back to midfield again in uni, and then back to outside back in
the rest of uni, and then in Spain I went to center mid and yada yada yada. Long story short is that I can end up playing a ton of different positions, and in the trials and in my career coming up I might play a completely different position. So, but when I would say when you're younger, focus on that general stuff. So let's go over a couple general drills that you guys can do for dribbling. These are all individual ones. So I'll hopefully do another one with a partner. And so we can do some partner general drills and then some partner drills that are specific to positions. But right now, this is considering if you don't have any other partners, you're in a space where COVID has really affected what's going on, and you have to do drills by yourself. So let's hop into that. Okay guys, so first drill is you can see the pink cones. I've got a pink square with a pink cone right in the middle. It's about 6 by 6, and then obviously you follow just straight in right where the T is on the cross. So I'm gonna start on this side and I'm gonna dribble. Maybe I'll go right foot only first, so dribble up the right side, around. We're doing a figure 8 around each edge. So I'm going figure 8, I end up on this side, then we go around the next one, dribble around, and so on and so forth. So that's this first drill is a figure 8, and this is actually great general stuff, but it's also a really great specific one for center midfielders who need a bunch of really, really tight turns. So that's just with the right foot. If I'm doing a slightly different one, maybe I'm going left foot and I go around the left side, you get the idea. So we're going around, figure 8 around the whole thing like that. And then maybe you do a couple rounds right-footed, couple rounds left-footed, and then you go 2 feet or just go as fast as you can, and that forces you to use whatever foot you're comfortable with. Again, I'm one of those players who at a very young age was forced to play a ton with my right foot, so I ended up getting really good at my right foot, striking the ball, passing the ball, dribbling, whatever. However, I would say my mentality throughout the whole thing, despite what trainers may have said or done with me, is to definitely train your strong foot too. You want that to be your weapon. So you need to be able to do everything and anything with that strong foot. So again, that's that. I call this like the figure 8 drill. That's a great general drill, or it's a very specific drill for center midfielders. All right guys, next one is probably the most fundamental drill you will ever see. Just a line of cones, and all you're doing is going through each one. So maybe we go right foot first. So we go right foot all the way around. I've turned around, I've done that once. Then I'll go left foot around all the way through like that. Then I'll maybe go inside only, so big inside, like Iniesta moves, Iniesta moves, Iniesta moves all the way through. Then I'll go rollovers, look something like that. And again, I'm going at them at pretty slow pace just to show you guys what they look like. This is like the most general of the general drills. So keep in mind that this is something you can do in your backyard, in your house, in your bedroom, and like the bathroom, like if you have room for it, like wherever you decide to go. Then maybe I'll switch it up. So I'll go across, touch up, across, touch up, across, touch up. Maybe I'll do that same thing, except this time I'll go L turn. So behind the back, up, behind the back. And all this is doing, all of this, especially this line drill, that all you're doing is going in a line. It's a really great way to get a ton of different touches in, but it's all about the repetition. So if I'm going right foot, I'm practicing that chop, 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 chop type situation, right? So everything is really, really predicated on repetition and quality over speed. Obviously you can go really fast through these, but you want to make sure that every touch is really, really quality. So that is that drill. I'd say that one just falls under general, but this drill is something that you can apply then to other kinds of things. So I would say especially center forwards and wingers and attacking midfielders need to use this drill a ton in combination with something like through the cones and then beat a player and then finish. Like those are great ways to take this general drill and then move it into something specific. All right, next one up is another super, super general drill. This is just a triangle of cones, and all we're gonna do is go up one side, back down the other, touch. Up one side, back down the other, touch. Up one side, down the other, touch. Like that. So that's first rotation, And again, I can do this in a really tight space, but a more game realistic, exaggerated version is gonna be much more helpful for you going forward. So that's a great way to get those little touches. Maybe I do something similar as well, where I'll go up, touch, L turn, back, across, up, L turn, back, across, something like that, where all I'm doing is, again, repetition, kind of similar to the line of cones. This is just, if I pretend there's a player right here in the middle of my triangle, all I'm doing is trying to get them off balance so I can take the ball the other way. So this, I would say, again, fantastic general drill, and then this is awesome for really anybody on the field. I think doing something like this and adding it to where maybe you go like up, back, L turn here, up, back, L turn here, and then as soon as you go like that, I'm going in and out and around to a shot or a cross, adding something like this to a more position-specific crossing, shooting, defensive headers. Maybe I'm getting out, I'm distributing the ball like a number 6, so I'm doing that drill, I'm doing 1 tech, 2 techs, playing the ball into a goal or through a gate maybe, and then I'm receiving a ball from the other side. Things like that are super, super helpful. Okay, so this next drill, apologies if it's getting a little windy. I've got 4 cones spaced out, 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about a big step. Maybe I'll go a little bit further on that one. Big step apart, and then I've got 2 cones on the outside. This is fantastic, again, for that general repetition, and then I would actually use this for an outside back or a winger. So what I'm doing is maybe I go up, 1, and around. Again, then I'm using that same movement again. Excuse me while I grab the ball. Up, 1, and then he has to move around. Up, 1, and he has to move around. Up, 1, and he has to move around, and then I come here, and then I beat a player. So something like that, where I'm getting really good repetition, and then going at speed at somebody over there is a really great way of practicing that, beating those players. And this, I think, is actually great for kind of everywhere on the pitch. So I'll do that one more time, but with a different skill. So I'll go roll over, touch, and he has to move here. Roll over, touch, and he has to move again. Roll over, touch, and he has to touch, roll over, touch, and he has to, and then around, little juke, and then we're out of the gates. And I say, set this one up kind of on the edge where an outside back or a winger would be, and incorporate it into a crossing and or finishing drill. I think that would be super, super spectacular, or straight down the middle, or kind of in the width of the 18 for those striker type players. All right, and so now we're gonna move into a little bit more specific stuff. I'm adding this to a dribbling drill, to a kind of a cross situation. So again, keep in mind that this is on my own. If I had a wall or something there, all I would do is set up a wall and then put the gate there, so I didn't have to retrieve the balls every time. So because I only have one, it's gonna be a little more complicated, but I will obviously cut so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. But the example is, if I'm gonna go through the cones, maybe inside, outside, inside, outside, as soon as I hit this point, I'm making it game realistic. I'm big push out, push through the cones, and then this becomes a wraparound cross like that. So it's super, super straightforward, and that way you get that accuracy of that cross and or pass in behind. Okay, so again, we'll run through that one at a little bit more speedy pace just to show you what that looks like, and then we'll move on to the next one. So if I'm coming through, I'm gonna go through, really explode out of that into the gate, and then get that cross into that general area. And again, so those orange cones over there, again, this is a very general area where I'm playing. If I had another player or a goal, I would do the exact same thing, except I'd be curving it into one of those mini goals, or I'd do it sideways onto a big goal, things like that, where you can really just adapt what you need to work on to the facility and or the field that you have. So we'll run through that one again. Really quick, explode out, take a touch in, look up, bam, right through. So that's something where all I'm doing is focusing on my dribbling and my touch ability, my explosion through that gate, and then the finish through that other gate. as if it was across. All right, so here's another one. We're gonna incorporate a little bit of distribution in this one. So here's a wall, just like an easy brick wall. That's super straightforward to play off of. Again, it's not perfect, but you know, life isn't, so there you go. And let's make sure on this one, all we're doing is going through that similar drill over there with the Y that I explained, except this time you're gonna play it off the wall, turn, and then dribble as quick as you can, explode through those cones. So watch what happens. So I'll go through it slowly. This time, let's try a chop turn. So we'll go chop, turn, and then up and around. Try it again. Chop, turn, up and around. Chop, turn, touch, here, check my shoulder, explode out, boom, 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 and I'm out of the gates right away. And what this does is this is actually a fantastic one for, I'd say, midfielders and or center backs too, especially if you're receiving a ball and you have to break the line of that center forward. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the ball here, checking my shoulder, okay, nobody's on, oh, get the ball, boom, boom, all the way out and through. And that's a really great way to train little skill, little skill, little skill, little skill again, little skill, little skill, pound it into the wall, check your shoulder, turn, and explode right away. It's a fantastic one, I think, for everybody, but I wouldn't call it general because it is really training a specific type of movement pattern, i.e. shoulder check, receive that ball, and explode out. So that's another one that I think is fantastic. If you have any wall, or you can do this on a curb actually as well, so long as you hit the ball like right on the ground, should bounce right back to you. Or if it's a curb that I had at my house, it'll bounce up, you take your touch down, and then you go right away, and that's also a great way to train. So back into the office. Thanks for joining me for this little montage of drills. Hope you enjoyed those, and I'll see you guys back at home.
All right, guys, so that is it for the video. Thanks so much for watching today. Hopefully those drills and that explanation on the field is really helpful for you guys moving forward. Maybe you can take some of that advice and implement it into your own training. Again, subscribe down below for more soccer videos every 3 or 4 days. And as always, guys, be awesome, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.